Hey there, my name is Oscar Compa with Guild Mortgage, and I'm actually a branch manager out here in California. And we're going to be reviewing the Zero Down program. This program is amazing. It's a form of down payment assistance to help you with down payment, closing costs. But the key thing here is you're going to see some factors that you're not going to see in other assistance programs. And the reason for that is because we wanted to open up as much opportunity to as many families, households, couples, individuals as possible. And so what we're going to be reviewing today is the overview of this program, the eligibility requirements, some examples of how this program works, and then we're going to show you what the actual eligibility process looks like. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this. And so first things first, what we want to take a look at is what the program overview actually is. And so the purpose of this program, the Zero Down Assistance Program, it aims to open doors to home ownership through a second loan. And it is up to 5% in assistance. And there are two different routes. There is the forgivable route and the repayable route. And we'll go ahead and dive into specifically what that means. But in essence, the second loan is the assistance. It's what's going to help you with the down payment. It's what's going to help you with the closing costs. So what are the key features for this particular program? Well, it's assistance up to 5%. So you can have a couple of different options to choose from, but it is a maximum of 5% of the sales price or the appraised value, whichever is lesser. It is nationwide, so you can qualify in all states throughout the country. There are no income limits, which is amazing. This is one of the key features of this program is that when it comes to no income limits, you're going to see that a lot of other assistance programs kind of limit you in terms of how much money you can make. There's a low credit score entry. We'll dive into that, which is another key feature here. There are home buyer and education and counseling required for it. It is not a lottery system, so it is not hoping that you're going to receive the funds. It's if you're qualified, you're eligible, you can go ahead and take advantage and utilize those funds. So there's no waiting around weeks. There's no doing multiple application processes. This is another amazing feature of it. And you'll know if you're eligible in as little as 24 to 48 hours. Our team does work very hard. We also work weekends. And so as long as you follow the steps at the end of this to see your eligibility, you'll know within 24 to 48 hours if you can utilize the Zero Down program. So let's take a look at some of the eligibility requirements. States. It is in all states, as I had mentioned, all states are eligible. In Alaska and South Carolina, there is a minimum loan amount, though, of $140,000 with $1. So if you're looking to purchase a home and the loan is going to be less than amount, you will not be able to do that in Alaska and South Carolina. But for the most part, if the purchase price is higher than that, if your purchase price is $200,000, 190, 180, you will qualify in terms of your state being eligible for this program. Now, in Arkansas and South Carolina, the minimum second mortgage is $5,000. So this essentially is saying we have to help you with a minimum of $5,000 towards your down payment. If it's anything less than that, based on the requirements, then we cannot do this. So those are just the specifics in those particular states for the eligibility. Now, when it comes to loan limits is how much we're lending. Now, keep in mind, this is for purchase transactions only, and they do have to be owner occupied, which means if you're buying the home, you're going to live in the home. Now, they follow what's called conforming loan limits, and this is based on specific county limits. We can get you over a chart based on what state that you're going to be purchasing in and what counties you're looking in, but just know that you would need to look up conforming loan limits. Our team will actually do that for you based on where you're looking to purchase in, and it has to fall within that limit. Now, the high balance is not an option that we're offering right now. These are in high cost areas. So if you're thinking about where properties cost a lot more, there's a different loan amount segment that essentially qualifies as a high balance or a high cost. This is not something that you can use the Zero Down program on, but again, the conforming limits do go really high, so you'll be able to use those for those. This is a 30-year term for the loan, so this is a fixed interest rate for 30 years. That means your payments are fully amortized for 30 years. So your interest rate isn't going to fluctuate. You're not going to be paying only 15 years, 20 years. It is a full 30-year loan, same as other standard financing. Now, borrower eligibility. What are some key things if you're looking to apply? U.S. citizens are eligible. Permanent residents are eligible. DACA recipients are eligible. Non-permanent residents are eligible as long as they meet specific guidelines. Our team is responsible for making sure they fall under those guidelines. Not occupying co-borrowers are eligible, but there are no co-signers allowed. So a co-signer and a co-borrower are very different. A co-borrower is essentially on the loan and on title. A co-signer is on the loan but not on title. So we do not allow no co-signers. Really, the only borrower eligibility guideline that we have there. Other eligibility requirements: income. As we mentioned, no income limits. Many other assistance programs do have income limits. They essentially say if you make over this amount, you do not qualify for this program. We cannot help you with your down payment. You have to save up or find another way. So we have no income limits. You can make as much money as possible and still qualify for this program in terms of eligibility. Credit score. Minimum 600 credit score all borrowers are required to have. This is huge. If you take a look at other assistance programs, they require 640, 660, in some cases 680, like a previous program that we had that we were doing about a month ago that opened up a lottery system, required a 680 credit score. This requires a 600 credit score. And so if you have a 600 credit score, or anyone that's going to be applying with you, if you guys all have at least 600 or higher, you guys would be eligible to apply for this program. Now, homebuyer education. Homebuyer education is required depending on if you have a 600 to 639 credit score. And so for 600 to 619, we use a company called Money Management International. We provide you the link. There's no extra cost. You go on there, you take the course online, and then you go ahead and provide the certification, and you're good to go. If you have a 620 to 639, again, no extra cost, but we use something called HomeView as the actual course itself. There's no cost for it, as I had mentioned. So you go online, you take it, you get the certification, send it over to us, and you're good to go. If you have a 640 or higher, you do not need to take any additional educational courses. You are good to go. And so that's really important. It's really key. You're not incurring any additional fees or costs. Property types. Eligibility: 1-unit single family residences, planned unit development, so PUDs, FHA approved condominiums. We have the list. If you have a condominium or a project that you're looking to see if it's FHA approved, reach out to us. We can help you out with that. FHA single unit approved condominiums. This is really cool because we have a specific department in our company that specializes in this. It's essentially if a project for whatever reason is not FHA approved, we can get one specific unit approved depending on if it falls within certain guidelines. So if you have a real estate agent that is curious about that, or you're looking in specific areas that don't know if it is FHA approved, we can help out with that. Now, what is not eligible? Well, new construction manufactured homes. Existing manufactured homes, there is an exception that we can grant based on eligibility, so reach out to us specifically for that. 2 to 4 units are not eligible. Under construction properties are not eligible. New constructions are okay if the property is complete at the time of closing, so really important. Rural properties are not eligible. Properties with more than 10 acres are not eligible, and non-FHA approved condos are not eligible. But keep in mind, we can try to get a single unit approval on the actual unit you're looking to purchase. So really important there. Now, how does it work? We're going to go down a basic kind of a breakdown of the equations that we use to calculate what it is that we're lending, how much cash to close you're going to need. So the first thing we need to find out is the first loan. This is the bulk of the financing. This is if you had the down payment, you would go to us as your lender, as the bank, and you would borrow this money to purchase a home, and you'd bring your own down payment. So we're going to figure out the first loan. You're going to take the purchase price of the home, and then you're going to subtract the down payment. In this particular case, we're using a first-time homebuyer program, an FHA program, and that down payment requirement is 3.5% down payment. That's essentially what it is that we're looking to help you out with. So you're going to take the purchase price, subtract the down payment, and you'll get your first loan. You'll get the loan amount of that. That is the first loan that we're lending. Then we need to calculate the second loan, which is the assistance. This is what's going to help you with the down payment, the closing costs. And in order to do that, you take the purchase price, you multiply it by the assistance percentage. The assistance will be 3.5% or 5%, depending on which route you choose. And so you multiply it by that percentage to get you the second loan. This is the amount that we're lending you for the down payment or the closing costs. So now that we know what the first loan, which is the bulk of the financing is, and we know how to calculate the second loan, which is how much assistance we're going to be giving you, now we have to find the cash to close. So we're going to first find the total cash to close, including the purchase price, because the purchase price is essentially what you're paying for the home. So you're going to take the purchase price of the home, you're going to add closing costs. Now, what closing costs are all the fees associated with the transaction. These are things like the escrow fees, the title fees, insurance fees, your taxes, everything that's included with the actual loan itself. Typically, that ranges between 1.5% to 3% of the purchase price. So you take the purchase price out of the closing costs, and now you get your total cash to close. So essentially, the property's value and how much cash to close in terms of closing costs you're bringing now. Now we have to find your cash to close. So you take the total cash to close that we just figured out, and then you're going to subtract your first and your second loan amounts from it. So you're going to take your total cash to close that we just calculated and subtract the other two loan amounts that we calculated on the first screen, and that's going to give you your cash to close. Essentially, the actual entire cash to close minus the bulk of the financing, and then also minus the assistance we're giving you gives you the end result. Now, I know that sounds a little bit complicated, so let's see a actual example with numbers. Here's the example. We're working with a $500,000 purchase price. So you're going to take your $500,000 purchase price and subtract the down payment. 3.5% is $17,500, giving you your first loan amount, the bulk of the financing, $482,500. Now we're going to calculate the assistance amount. So we're going to take the purchase price, which is $500,000, multiply it by 5%, which is the maximum assistance we can allow. It's going to give you $25,000. This is your second loan, the assistance that's going to help with the down payment and the closing costs. Now we're going to figure out the total cash to close. We have the purchase price at $500,000, plus we're going to estimate closing costs to be about $10,000. Remember, closing costs typically range between 1.5 to 3% of the purchase price. This gives you a total cash to close of $510,000. This is including the sales price and your cash to and your closing costs. Now let's come up with a number that you're essentially coming in out of pocket. So we're going to take the total cash to close, which is $510,000, and we're going to subtract the first and the second loan amounts. That's the bulk of the financing and the assistance, which is $507,500, giving you a total of about $2,500 as cash to close from you. So this is what it looks like when you're taking full advantage of the assistance from the zero down program. It can essentially have you coming in for a property of $500,000 with less than $5,000 out of pocket. It's a huge game changer with an entry level of 600 credit score, no income limits, and eligible in all states in the nation. And so here's what's next. The types of financing, the types of assistance that there is. There's two types. There's forgiven and repayable. Now, the forgiven route is a 30-year deferred, which means you make no payments on it for the full 30-year term. Essentially, you would pay that back at the end of the 30 years. There's no monthly payments, but this is the best part of the forgiven thing, is it's 3.5% maximum of the sales price of the appraised value. There's no interest rate on it, but if you make the monthly payments on time for at least 3 years with the forgiven route, if you make those payments on time for 3 years, it is completely forgiven. You don't have to pay it back. So even when your 30-year loan term ends, you don't have to pay that assistance back because it is a forgiven amount. So keep in mind that forgiven amount is a maximum of 3.5% towards your down payment. Now there's a repayable option that offers a little bit more. This is a 10-year amortized, which means you're going to have a little bit of a higher monthly payment for the first 10 years of the loan because the loan that we're lending you, which is 3.5 to 5%, gets split up into monthly payments. That's why it's repayable. But with this route, you can borrow up to 5%. The forgiven route borrows up to 3.5%. If you plan on paying it back, you can get up to 5% of assistance toward the sales price or their appraised value, whichever is less. Because you're making a monthly payment on it, there is an interest rate on it, and the interest rate is the exact same as the interest rate on the first loan, which is the bulk of the financing. I know it sounds a little bit tricky, a little bit maybe confusing, but reach out to us. We're here to show you which route would make the most sense for you, show you both of the numbers, and that we compare them, contrast them, and make the best decision for yourself, your life, your family, whatever it may be. But just know there's a forgiven route and a repayable route. Forgiven, if you make your monthly payments for 3 years, you do not have to pay it back, but you can only get a maximum of 3.5% of assistance. And the repayable, gives you a monthly payment on what it is that we're lending you, maximum of 5%. Therefore, you're getting an additional higher monthly payment for the first 10 years, but you could get up to 5% in assistance. So here's how you take advantage of the eligibility process. So in order to apply for this program and check your eligibility, you must complete the following steps and provide the required documentation. And so step one is a discovery call. Now, step one is not required. You don't have to talk to anyone on my team. You don't even have to talk to me. But essentially, you would contact our team to determine your eligibility over the phone, and we'd essentially get you pre-qualified. No required documents, just a phone call. If you choose to completely bypass that step, that's perfectly fine. We have plenty of families that are bypassing that and just want to know their eligibility. Then you could go to step two, which is the loan application. Now, the loan application is where you submit the loan application online along with the required supporting documents. So this is you're only going to provide what's applicable to you. So for instance, you're going to see in the third column required documents, most recent 30 days pay stubs, last 2 years tax returns, last 2 years W-2, Social Security award letter, retirement, pension, child support, disability, all these different types of income, but only provide what is applicable. We don't require every single piece of document. We only need what's applicable to you. So for instance, if you're not retired, then you don't need to provide pension information, retirement income documents because you don't have it. Only provide what's applicable to you and what it is that you have. Once you submit the online application and the documents to us, our team will review it. And like we said, we'll tell you if you're eligible within 24 to 48 hours. It is very simple to know if you're eligibility, if you're able to take advantage of this program, this zero down program, which leads us to step three, pre-approval. Our team was going to review your application along with the documents, as well as pull a soft pull credit report. Now, a soft pull credit report is super, super simple because it doesn't put a hard inquiry on your credit score and it doesn't affect your credit score, but it still gives us all the information we need. We're able to see your score, all your trade lines, everything that's on your credit report, but it doesn't put a hard inquiry on your credit report. It's amazing. It's what we use with all our clients to show you the options before we actually need to pull your credit report. Keep in mind, we will need it in order to finalize everything, but we can work with the soft pull up until we're ready to proceed and to also find out if you're eligible or not. The last thing we want to do is just run your credit. And if you're not eligible at the moment, then we just put a hard inquiry on your credit report, and we don't want to do that. You don't need any required documents for this. The only requirement documents that you need are in step two. So now that we move on to step four, which is review your options and your home plan. So once we're able to pre-approve you, we'll know that you're eligible. Our team is going to review your options with you, show you the forgivable route, show you the repayable route, and provide all of the numbers so you know exactly what's involved with your purchase and your transaction so there's no surprises later on down the line. We want you to be completely confident in your housing journey. And if for whatever reason you are not eligible at the moment, we're going to tailor a home plan for you and give you a step-by-step plan on how to get on track and to proceed with purchasing a home in the future so you will be taken care of regardless. And then step five is house hunting. So if you were eligible, you've been pre-approved, you've seen your numbers, now you use your pre-approval letter that we give you with your real estate agent to go out and find your home. Now, if you don't have a real estate agent or you don't feel confident that your agent knows the area like the back of their hand in what you're trying to search, we work with a amazing network of real estate agents that specialize in their specific areas and specialize in specific types of homes. So if you wanted to connect with any of them, please feel free to reach out to us. We can make sure that you are in amazing hands the way that we're going to take care of you. And that's pretty much it. So if you'd like to see if you're eligible, you can visit getahomeloan.today/0down. If you're on the website watching the video already, just go down below. There's some links where you could click to see if you're eligible. Feel free to text me or email me, whatever works best for you. We're here to help you out. Take full advantage of this amazing zero down program that we are offering with very minimal entry level. We're here to help you out however it is that we can. Take advantage of the free money, the forgivable money, or the repayable amount and get the full 5%. But go ahead and go to getahomeloan.today/0down or text or email me, and we'll make sure that you're taken care of. Check your eligibility. It's not going to affect your credit. There's no cost involved. Just know what's possible. And with that said, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope to help guide you home, and I'll talk to you soon.